All right, so someone is asking, why do you use single element filters? I see other companies such as CTS using dual element filters. Wouldn't more surface area equal more better? Um, you would think so. Um,
It's an intuitive guess, yeah.
it seems common sense would say that more element area is better. But we have talked about this a few times, and we really need to do some documentation around this because we do have a
Honestly,
few
it's
different.
such a simple thing to video on the flow bench. I think we can
No,
do.
yeah,
Like
we need to
literally,
do it.
like you don't have to like believe our numbers. We can show you real
Yeah.
time kind of what they do.
So we've done a flow test with CTS's air filter, and their air filter flows very poorly. Um, the problem is, um, not all air filter elements are created equal. You could actually create an air filter element that doesn't flow any air that looks like an air filter, right? And
We have one. I printed one.
you could build a whole air filter out of that so that 100% of the surface of that is filter, but it's not a filter because it doesn't flow anything. It would just be paper with no holes in it. So somewhere along the line, there's that extreme, and then there's the filter media that we use, which provides the required level of filtering with the most peak optimum flow possible. That's how our filter is specced out. But if you go back towards the filter that looks like a filter but isn't, somewhere there's CTS's filter which flows worse than ours, even though it has more surface area, and God only knows how much it actually filters. It could um, have not enough small holes and a couple really big holes so that big pieces go through, but the flow is still worse. Um, so, you can't judge a filter by how many extra little nooks and crannies of filter media it has. Now, we actually did a second data point. We did an experiment with our own air filter, our 4-inch air filter, which is a very good flowing air filter, flows 600 plus horsepower easily with no restriction. And we had our filter vendor add the inverted filter portion in the end cap. So instead of having the rubber end cap, it was replaced with a cone filter element.
No other changes. That was it.
No other changes, same media, same everything else, same size of everything. And on a flow bench, that air filter flowed worse than the normal air filter we supply.
Yeah, we actually sent that out to a third party to be fair.
Yeah,
That wasn't even done here.
yeah. Um, an independent company that does independent flow testing because we really wanted to evaluate that. So it's not like we haven't looked into this. It's not like we haven't considered it. Um, but there's so much more to an air filter than simply adding an extra cone to the end, like what CTS has done. Um, I'm not trying to bash CTS, but objectively, the filter's not very good. And since you brought it up,
Well, and in this
we
market,
need
I
to
think
talk about
that's kind of one of the ones people are comparing to. It's like, oh, that's it's on the market. It's cheap. It's got a dual cone filter.
it. Yeah.
Um,
So
it's yeah, it was pretty shocking how much less it was flowing.
this is why we do engineering. This is why we do scientific testing. This is why we actually test these concepts out. We don't just take for granted that something looks like it flows more, so it must flow more. Unfortunately, there's a lot of companies in the industry that's how they do their engineering. And the other unfortunate side of that is a lot of people fall for it. They think that that's actually better.
Yeah, well, it's that what like I said earlier. It's that intuitive look at it. Like, yeah,
Yeah, but common
it's got more
sense,
filter. It must be
it, you
have
know,
more area
yeah. I
or
mean,
more flow.
we didn't build rockets that go into space or F1 cars off of common sense. Just you can't common sense a really fast car. Uh, there's people that try. You can see the efforts out there. So, good question. We really need to produce some of these videos to kind of show some of the differences. But yeah, you can have two identical filters with the same dimensions and sizes, but the filter medias can have a lot of effect. The other side of it is you could have an air filter that flows a ton, but it doesn't filter anything. And so now you're ingesting dirt and dust into your engine. All that grit makes its way into the combustion chamber. it coats the cylinder walls, and you wear your rings out because you have all this foreign debris inside your motor.
Well, yeah, rings, turbo impellers, depending on what
Anything that requires
anything that
lubrication, right?
you're drawing that air past.
Yeah.